separate read, guys. I know I did one for June, but I just wanted to see if there was a different perspective, if there was a change in some of the elements that were coming in for the month of June for you. And it's kind of a mixed bag. And I did pull a few other cards that were for July, and I'm going to do that one as a separate read because I get the feeling that July there's going to be something more that's taking place that might be a little bit more uprooting. So let's just go with that. So right now I am using a different deck. It's new to me, so I might have to refer to the book for until I become familiar with it. But I am kind of pulling on a few cards here as well from the Tarot of Curious Creatures. The one I'm using right now is the Prisms one, I believe, the Prisma Visions Tarot. This one is by James R. Eads, and that was the illustrator. Sorry, guys, I don't see who the one who's writing it. Oh, Catherine Toombs. Okay, so I'm just going to get right in here. How I start out is I do read sort of the general, and then I'll read all the clarifiers. I did build quite a few on that first combination, or the second combination there, just because it seems a little bit off-putting in some way. Again, it's kind of a mixed bag here. So, I mean, I see some happy elements, but there's also some big changes that are kind of under the, how do I say that? Just in the wings anyway, either way. It's just a rumblings of some changes, big changes. Okay, so we'll start out with the Knight of Chalices. And again, I'm going to read it generally first, just the general meanings, and then I'll go more specifically into what this particular deck interprets the meanings as. I mean, there is... Hi, hello, Shooting Star. Good to see you. So I'll read it as, like I said, just the general first, and then we'll kind of get into the more detailed aspects of it later. Sorry about the camera thing here. I'm always kind of doing things out and about. Okay, so what I see there with the, so I'm not going to start with the Knight of Swords because the one I'm seeing here first is the Knight of Chalices. And the cards below, I'll just put off to the side here for the minute, so it's not actually the Death card, just so you're aware. Okay, so the Knight of Chalices, of course, is Cups, Knight of Cups, and usually with the Knight of Cups, I mean, it kind of speaks to things in around that idea of, I should say it's Knight of Cups with the moon. So again, and there's a couple of other clarifiers there, but the Knight of Cups in itself is still speaking to someone that's creative, artistic, or has a really good sense like being in touch with their feelings. So whether this is you or another person, but because Knights generally refer to actions that need to take place, it could be an action based on a feeling, but it's either way kind of exploring some of the subconscious there as well, subconscious elements, and somehow, you know, getting in touch with your emotions is what I would say in this period. So I would say in June, again, this could be a little further out for some of you, but it is a general read. So whoever this resonates for, you know, as I mentioned, all making decisions on a Saturday or whatever. So again, it's going to resonate at different times. Some of you, again, may be going through this process a little slower and finding resolve, but for the most part, what I see here is you are dealing with somebody that is of a younger, there could be a younger quality for some of you with this person who is very creative and needs to get in touch with their feelings. And again, whether that's you or another, there's something here about embracing emotions and diving a little bit deeply into those elements. Again, the Knights do bring in some, you know, forging ahead with something here emotionally, because the moon energy is also an indicator that you're dealing with, like I said, the subconscious. There is certainly elements around there being a little bit of anxiety here, as well as, you know, maybe some projections of fear, you know, emotionally, but there's also a level of intuition, you know, during this time of kind of uncertain emotions is what I would say there. I would still say this is a lot of the unconscious that's kind of acting or impressing upon your emotional state at this time. So if it seems like there is something a little bit unknown or operating in a, I don't want to say deceptive way necessarily, but more of an elusive way where you're not really seeing everything on the surface, that's probably why there's kind of an emotional mystery here, where some elements emotionally or a little bit of deception. Although I didn't see Seven of Swords, but I do still see some energies around harboring feelings emotionally. So, like, there's something here that does speak to kind of resentments building. So, that's why I say there's something here that's maybe not quite resolved or on the surface to be dealt with. So the moon does reveal a little bit of what you're dealing with, but it doesn't have full light. It's not, the sun, it's not the star. It's more that energy of somebody needs to process something emotionally. And it does look like it has to be in around, or it could be for some of you, a younger person, like 20s, 30s, that kind of thing, not childlike quality here. But there is still something around there that seems a little bit not quite on the surface for you to see yet. So it might reveal itself more in July, because I did, even though I'm not incorporating it into this read, there was something there in July that did seem to be a little bit more of the reveal. So I'll do that reading here in the next little bit. But right now, there's something here around the emotions that need to be processed. Could be dealing with, like I say, somebody who is in the around 20s, 30s range, but we also have the King of Wands. This is, again, a clarifier. There is money that's involved in around this situation. So King of Wands does speak to that mature energy. It definitely speaks to somebody who has kind of a command of kind of creative aspects as well. So they're usually somebody that, has a fair amount of charisma, I would say. And they're certainly, like I said, on top of things for the most part. Like they're movers and shakers. They really know how to, to move something ahead and gain some notoriety through attention, in some way like that. So again, I do still feel the Knight of Wands is moving something ahead in probably monetary ways here. But there's also actions that are taking place in around finances. So that might be part of what's not on the surface here, but there is something that will be revealed in July, as I said. So with the King of Wands, again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, still very relevant here. But the kings also represent a sense of closure or a completion. So there's some sense of finality here, because we've got King of Wands, King of Pentacles. There's a lot of cards of things still underneath the surface. And there's also an energy around maturity. So whether this is mature men, women, whatever, there's a measure of wisdom that's still involved here. So I would also say that it could be a father figure as well, but there is somebody who's kind of older here, one with money, and then there's also somebody who's coming off as a mature, equal energy. So it's almost like there's three different players here, for the most part, that are influencing the reading in the month of June. I do feel like, again, this is King of Wands is entrepreneurial energy. So maybe there's somebody who is interested in taking a risk around something with money, but it definitely is kind of still under the wire, something that's not fully being revealed here. So there's also a sense of, it's a vision. There's a vision behind something that's involving money, and it has an entrepreneurial feel to it. Okay, so that is where we're starting. Now, the part, as I said, because it's next to that moon card and action being, with emotions, there's a lot of hidden sort of emotional situations here. There's also something here with the Nine of Swords. And I feel because of that, that's why we're sitting with the Nine of Swords. There's something that's not yet revealed, which causes a lot of anxiety. And I mean, yes, of course, it does end up with, drama-filled situations that could also kind of go in with that card. But when I see it next to the Death card, which I did pull quite a few clarifiers, but for the most part, this is really the main energy there. The Nine of Swords and that Death card really sort of speaks to me as though, again, time of uncertainty, a lot of subconscious fears that might be needing to be worked through, but it's almost like there's confusion because there's a certain level of deception that's maybe not being revealed. And when I say deception, it may be just that there's a hush-hush sort of energy around it. Something is being hidden from us, right? So it's along that line. So that may be causing some confusion or some fear. So there's something here where there's a bit of an uncertainty in the month of June. So until those hidden factors are kind of brought to light, you just have to trust your inner compass, that kind of thing. So again, there is a period of introspection that is kind of resonating in the month of June, but it's also the message of don't allow your emotions to cloud your judgment. So remain grounded and really process, really examine your emotions, and there's something I remember hearing on a podcast that was a psychiatrist, actually Harvard psychiatrist, and what he was actually saying was, unfortunately, until you actually know something is going to take effect. I mean, it'd be great if we could plan for every, contingency and all situations that might impact us. But if we really don't know, where and which and how something is going to occur, we really just have to, just trust that we have some ability to navigate through the process. And of course, if you can change a situation, great. If you can negotiate out something from that situation, even better. If you don't have a lot of the supports and so on that you need, you just have to go from point A to B when the situation arises where you have the material to deal with it. So again, in other words, I guess what I'm really saying there is some things you're just going to have to wait for the reveal before you really know which direction. So worrying about it is just wasting your energy. Keep on top of things and keep your strength and maintain your focus on the things that you do have control over. Okay, so Nine of Swords and the Death card does indicate that there will be an end of a stage of life. So there is some kind of a transformation, a significant life change that's taking place in the month of November. It does impact the finances. It does impact the emotions. It is necessary for personal growth. And again, I feel like you're tormented by your own thoughts here with that Nine of Swords energy. So it's really, again, advice, take control over your own thoughts, face your anxieties head on, but it's also allowing your worry to kind of go consume you. It's kind of getting out of control because you're allowing it to. So, they say that there's another way of dealing with those things when it comes to anxiety and worry. Again, you can't know exactly all the things that will take place before they happen. So for the most part, it's just keep building on the strengths that you have. And when you do have anxiety, meditation, I know sounds like it's really hard to do for a lot of people, and I myself would have some challenges. I have tried a few different times because the monkey mind and the mind just is overactive. But know this, that they actually have done research and studies that indicate that when you can meditate and you just allow thoughts to trickle through, it actually increases the frontal lobe activity. So because of that, it really means that you have more emotional regulation. And when you have more emotional regulation, it actually means that you can control your situations better. It's not even really about IQ, because again, there's more studies that have proven that success is not about IQ, it's about EQ. It's about your emotional ability to deal with high stress situations, possibly in volume. And of course, hit after hit after hit can, lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, all that stuff. So the point is when you can emotionally regulate better through these tough times, you will have more success in making faster decisions. And so because of that, it also gives you a sense of more control and power over your own life. So again, that'll be a way to kind of navigate through anxiety. But again, there's also just that factor of reminder, that you are going to be going through a big shift. There is going to be, it's necessary for your personal growth in a situation. And it also feels like there's a lot of anxieties around you at this time because all the cards of emotion seem to be very intense at this time in the month of June. But I mean, on a positive, there was some cards I pulled out, over here that sort of pulled out a Nine of Cups. So there is something happy in this situation. So I don't want to give you too much on the negative because really, even though it's a big change, there's something very significant about your own happiness that's tied into this change. So okay, so let's kind of skip right through here. So again, when we are with the Nine of Swords, just know that there is elements here that you just need to talk yourself down. And one other little tidbit, just because I know a lot of us go through, anxiety. It's just a human emotion. It's just the way it is. It's not, specific to tarot people. It's specific to humanity. So, when you have a lot of anxiety, another way of dealing with is, by inviting actually, there's even the psychiatrist was saying this, he dealt with a lot of anxiety and was able to deal with it by saying, yeah, I mean, sometimes they'll say in a counseling situation, thanks for sharing, or however it feels best for you to deal with it. But it's also that communication to yourself by saying, all right, this is what's happening. Can I control it? Yes, no. All right. Well, then it goes to the background. I don't really have time to deal with that. I can only deal with what's on my plate. So it's kind of you saying, sure, I hear you, subconscious. That's what you're trying to protect me. And this is what you're trying to say. And then I should have some fear and you want me to protect myself in some way, but I can't deal with what I've got without enough information. So for the moment, you're just going to have to share it another time. So it's really talking yourself down. So anyway, moving on. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Wands here as well. And the Seven of Wands still means that you have an upper hand in a situation. I'm not saying there's full control over something here, but Seven of Wands does indicate that there is some measure of advancement. So it's also a spiritual maturity card, and it does indicate that something is being worked through, something is being developed here. It could also be that you're putting up some walls, afraid to get hurt, and so you might be feeling as though you need to kind of grow in some way, or but either way, it's still a phase where you're just trying to be, you're getting stronger than you were before in a situation, but again, there's still a sense of you may not have all the elements to really kind of strike out on your own, or really, have full control over the scenario. So basically, your position is to be a little bit defensive, is what I'm seeing here. That's how you're feeling, at least for whoever this resonates for. There's a sense that you're feeling a little bit defensive. You are not in any bad position here in the month of June. I don't see anything that is traumatizing at all. Again, I feel like you're succeeding, or there's an advantageous position, because there is additional monies, and it's almost like with that Eight of Pentacles, it's like there is a sense of entrepreneurial, and a combination of people, at least three people I'm seeing here, seems to be relevant. But the Eight of Pentacles is still a card of building on something, building on structures. For some of you, maybe it's usually this for me is going back to school if it's a Page of Pentacles. But so the Eight of Pentacles to me is more along the lines of, this is building on the future, is what I see there. So you're still building on the future. There's, a willingness to learn, and you're really applying yourself here. So, it's deepening the tangible, deepening the practical, deepening the finances, really kind of focusing on the finances and really trying to make something work. There's also there's a sense of, with the Two of Pentacles, again, that could be that there's a lot of things that are still being kind of juggled through. I don't really see that you're not managing it, or the household or whoever your finances. It doesn't feel mismanaged. It feels like it's almost like where are things going to be allocated? It's along that energy of one thing affects the other, and so it's still a matter of kind of opening. Like, it's not juggling. It's more about one thing affects the other. And hello there. Sorry, is it Zazu? Hi, thanks for supporting, guys. So, but yeah, I just feel like the resources are being applied in a really wise way. There's a balance, there's a harmonizing energy here. Everything is Eight of Wands, even, it just feels like everything is being adjusted to in some way. Eight of Wands does indicate that there is something is coming in quite quickly. And it is a shift. For sure, there's a little bit of a battle on this front, though, with the Five of Wands. It's a competitive feel. So it feels like, again, fives are all about changes and adjustment, a need for an adjustment here. So is smaller changes, though. I wouldn't say that part of it is around the finances is the big deal. It feels like you're just trying to steer into it. So there is a competitive feel, whether it's you or somebody else's energy, where it feels like there's a bit of rivalry, but there's also some easily triggered kind of energy here. But you are moving into the Six of Wands, so it feels like there's something there, where there is maybe a sense of feeling a little bit attacked, but with the Six of Wands, it feels like this is still action toward some completion, toward a task, right? So again, this is persistence. This is using things in a very practical way. There's drive, there's ambition, there's lots of energy here. And I just feel like it's in the practical sense. So It is. There's also the energy here again. There's definitely some changes taking place in around, like I said, a lot of things with the finances. But the Eight of Swords does indicate that there is some element of possible self-sabotaging a situation. So I would say that there's maybe a little bit of a drama situation that goes on, at some point here, where somebody's feeling a little bit trapped. I don't know why that's coming up here, but there is a little bit of a triggered sort of feeling. So there's definitely a sense that possible, no, I don't even want to say manipulation, because there's a lot of swords here. So there could be some conflict in around something that's coming through in terms of money. And I do see Taurus. I was just reading it's high, is it Matoka? Yeah, anyway, what I do see here for sure, there's a Taurus that's coming through here. It's not every single one of the signs that are, and Libra for sure, you're definitely still in a strong position here, but it feels like there is a bit of a restriction around you in some way. I'm not sure how yet, but because I see so many of the swords energy, it's like there's maybe some miscommunications in some way, but things are still advancing because we have the Chariot. So even if you feel like you're frustrated in some way here, just know that things are still advancing in a positive way. So I just feel like you don't have maybe oh, and there's also Cancer sign here with the Chariot, but either way, you're overcoming obstacles. So there is a sense of self-discipline. There is a sense of, a lot of going for it kind of energy. And I definitely feel like this is a longer term journey. Somebody, I don't know who's in the driver's seat here with the Chariot, so to speak, but there is some kind of new start here with this money. So the money is being, there's some, I don't know where it's being placed, but it's some kind of new money-making idea there, because the Ace of Pentacles, for some of you, this could be a new job, something that's coming up here. And there is definitely a sense that, this is practical, a lot of practical energy here, a lot of emotions, and a lot of action, movement. So, oh, Matoka, yeah. Yeah, that's not a good scenario. I'm very sorry, very, very sorry to hear that. But sometimes better to get it, dealt with right away before too far in, and then there's more to lose financially and all of that stuff. But, always know there's better out there for sure. You just have to be open to it. Heal first, that's for sure. You don't want to be on any rebound. But anyway, Ace of Pentacles, like I said, there's something new here in a practical sense. For some of you, that could be, I just feel like it's more material sense here on that aspect. So again, even with the Five of Chalices, this is emotionally feeling like there's some kind of overdraw. Things are like, it's almost, maybe there was a quick, fast fling or something here that kind of became a part of the scenario here, but that Five of Cups does still indicate that there is something here around the emotions that's still being dealt with. There's a setback. There's some sorrow here that's kind of, like I said, these are just the clarifiers, but even with the Justice card, know that something is going to even things out. So the Justice card does indicate that there is going to be some kind of fairness around a situation where there was a deep sorrow, where you did feel cut off emotionally, or where you are feeling cut off emotionally, perhaps in June. Like I say, the timelines will be a little bit different for all of you. Hi, Emily. Sorry, is it Amelia or Emily Cora? My apologies, but I was just glancing down. But either way, like I said, I just feel like you're not, a situation will be resolved, but I don't feel like it's going to be a quick resolve, but it is going to balance out in the end. And just know that a lot of this is still sort of working behind the scenes, because this is all just clarifier energy. So again, that High Priestess is a lot of things are still, you're still in a sitting power, like it's still a power position. The High Priestess doesn't, kind of buckle to these things, but it is also knowing that you have a certain sense of, it's hidden parts of your personality that you're processing right now, especially with the Four of Chalices. There's a level of sadness that you're still kind of working through, depression or something there that does feel like a low ebb that you have to you just have to work through the unconscious. You just have to work through the levels of sadness here. But I want to also say, I mean, I did ask more specifically further out with the other cards here. This is a different deck, the Tarot of Curious Creatures, that was in around an emotional aspect. And that one did sort of indicate there's some repressed feelings. So just know that it's almost like something is going to come out again. So right now, things will kind of right itself at some point here. But right now, you're working through a lot of deep emotions. I feel like you are the one that's feeling, kind of hindered in some way. You are feeling like you're restricted by something here. And for sure, the finances are at play here. And again, somebody has the money, somebody doesn't have the money, but somebody has but there is a sense of things kind of working together a little bit here. Like I said, I think July is going to be something of where there's more action. But right now, it just feels like there is a lot of conflict that's being dealt with. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot in terms of the financial part of it somehow is being kind of dealt with. But the other part is the emotional aspects. Like I say, it feels like you're kind of sitting in waiting. You're sitting in a situation where things are not quite on the surface for you to know which way to move, I guess is what I want to say there. But again, the hidden parts of this reading come up with the High Priestess. Again, those are just clarifiers because really the main energy is all minor arcana. So I mean, there's a lot of people in this reading. Don't get me wrong. I'm seeing three different types, three different signs here. Again, there is a water sign. Cancer sort of figures prominently for me here. But there's also the Aries, Leo, Sagittarius that came up for me, and Libra so far. So I'm not saying all the other cards don't represent here, but it's just those are the ones that speak, and Scorpio is kind of the ones that sort of speak volumes here. Okay, so we're going to kind of skip into the Magician. Now, the Magician is the card of having some real strong energy. So again, this is almost that energy of something may be in manifest mode here. Something you're still trying to make happen. And I don't know if that's in around what area of your life specifically, but it feels like it's in around communication. So, and there could be something here with a younger person here as well. But I feel like because that, like the Tower, well, I'll get to that one in a second here. But because we actually do have that Nine of Swords and the Death card, like I said, just to kind of reiterate, there's an end of a stage of life. There is a transformation, significant change that you're going through, necessary for your personal growth. Again, you're kind of tormenting yourself here with your own thoughts. There's worries about something that's consuming you, just to kind of reiterate. And again, it's about, how do you take control of your thoughts? Meditation is one way here as well. But either way, the motivation with the Magician and the King of Swords, the motivation behind those two cards is learning to communicate better. So I'm going to shift it over here a bit. So it is about learning to communicate better. So that does mean that either, you're a powerful communicator, somebody's a powerful communicator here, but there is a way of motivating a situation to actually turn it into a reality. So whether that is you're skilled in this communication, you or another person, but that's your talent. And so in some way you have the ability to communicate enough that you can turn things, in your favor. So there's also a sense of, because the King of Swords represents as an intellectual person or somebody who really relies on their mental state to be able to be a leader or strategize in some way, it also means you're powerfully, verbally confident as well. So it's, the ability to inspire others. It's the ability to, be powerful in your manifestations and to achieve whatever goal it is. But that's your power. That's your superpower, is your ability to be rational and lead. And leading, can mean working together with other people to make those big changes and to shape something into a reality. But your power, your superpower here in the month of June is your ability to strategize, be a leader, take, action decisively. So again, there's something around that energy where that's your superpower for this month. The Page of Wands does tell me there's something here, could be again in around a younger person as well, but the Page of Wands still bringing in some information. There's something here about something advancing a little bit here with advancing in some way, because the page is swift, positive information. So I feel like there is going to be some kind of communication towards you or something along that line. Again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius figures prominently here. But I would say that that is still positive, very positive energy. So again, there's something here about don't abandon your goals here. Everything is still within your grasp. There is still some sense of control, even though you don't necessarily feel that you are the one with the control. But I feel like you can expect some messages around something, a new project, or something here around the practical, around money, that is going to be good news for you. And that will help to sort of turn things around. Because I did see, like I said, the Nine of Cups coming out here. So again, this is something here that does represent as, the outlook financially improving. I also want to say here that, just to pay attention to, like, your health and everything, is sort of improving on this basis, but there is just some kind of communication, phone call, email, whatever it is for you, that does indicate there's going to be something that's fulfilling. And again, I did pull from another deck, but the Nine of Cups did come out here. So you do have something coming in here that's more positive, that's definitely going to be communicated. Okay, I want to skip to, because this is a different deck, like I said, I want to also just, maybe I'll do that part at the very end. So what I'll do is I'll kind of jump it over to, I'll pull these down for a second, and we'll kind of get right into the other cards. Now, the Tower sort of came out here. Like I said, the Tower does represent as a bit of, can be a negative card here, but I do want you to know that it's still a positive in a lot of ways. So the Tower, because it's reversed, normally the Tower, when it comes out, everything gets shaken up and, it can be a really life-changing event. But what I see here is it's not ready to come out yet. And that means that somebody's harboring feelings of resentment, resistant to some kind of a change, or they're ignoring something with the relationship or with the connection. So there is something around resentment building. So somebody is emotionally repressing here. There's something that is not being communicated, not being expressed. So someone is communicating and the other person is not. The other one is shutting right down. Again, I've got the Fool energy that is combined with that. So again, it feels like they're just ignoring it, doing their own thing. There's the Eight of Swords. So this feeling of feeling trapped, not able to express oneself, that kind of thing. There is a lot of confusion around here as well with this connection, because the Seven of Cups does indicate that there is some sense of not having, not having a really good idea of what to expect, right? This is something where, you don't really understand what's happening. And then we also have the card of Judgment. So there is a decision, there is something up ahead. But again, this feels like it's quite a bit further out. You are still in the energy of it. Sorry, Amelia, I'm just reading your messages to validate your ring. Was too long to appear. You're busy, though. Oh, sorry. You are so sweet. Thank you. I'm sorry. I just try to do what I can, guys, as I can. But yeah, like I say, Judgment does indicate to me that there is some big decisions that you will be making here further out. Not necessarily in that energy yet, but it is further out here. Still something that you're in the energy of, but it's not, no decisions are being made just yet. Again, some of you, it may be more relevant than others, but there's a certain sense of self-acceptance, self-realization, all of that's got to be worked through here, because I don't feel like somebody's really ready to face something yet, so there's a sense of, maybe focusing too much on the past because it feels safe there, but you have to kind of either forgive yourself, forgive someone else, whatever it is. I guess for some of you that will be relevant, but it's a way of, you need to kind of let something flow and kind of unshackle yourself first, is what I would say in the month of June. So the High Priestess does tell me that there's a lot yet that has to come out. So there's nothing that you can do about it at this time, because things aren't quite lined up yet for that to happen. Follow your intuition is certainly what's coming through there. But again, there's still a sense of a lot of resentment that's got to be processed in the month of June. But there is, like I said, a sense of secrecy as well going on in the month of June. So not everything is revealed for you to have any kind of instant answer. So you're just going to have to step away and just kind of listen, to the whispers of whatever comes through in a dream or synchronicities or however you hear it. But there's something here that you just need to be able to, you have to kind of read between the lines here as it comes up. So the Nine of Wands does indicate that, you're very guarded or someone's very guarded here. Like I said, Nine of Wands still speaks to a resiliency in a situation though. So persevere, but it's also, there's something here where you need to keep yourself motivated even though you're in a very defensive position. So again, there's a lot of things to release. And again, this is being pulled through again, the Death card repeatedly coming up. Something has ended, an old way of dealing with a scenario, and you're really having to move forward in a different way. These are very big, impactful cards with the Death card. And again, it's coming through in a different deck. So you're going to have to let go of something. Something has been, it's an outmoded way of dealing with things, old things that you're hanging on to. There's a transition. There's a change that has to happen in the month of June. And that transition does symbolize some symbolic, awareness of things. But there's, I'm really seeing the flag here. So it's almost like there's a sense of it's time to let go of something. You know what I mean? It's time to let go. And usually when the flag and the, staff kind of, for me, it's like staking one's ground. So however that resonates for you. The fact is we've got the Nine of Pentacles. So there's kind of a solo energy here that's coming through during this time of transition. And there is still a lot of healing that's taking place. But that Nine of Pentacles energy, there's still a lot coming through here in terms of money. And I don't know what aspect or how this is really, relevant for you, but that does indicate some sense of abundance or manifestation. There's something here that still kind of speaks to money being a big part of this picture here. And it's almost like the money goals are still being met in some way. I don't know why. I'm still seeing it as a positive, but there is still a sense of a lot of healing that needs to take place here before anything happens, because there's too much restrictive energy, too much somebody's really holding back. And whether that's you, with the Queen of Cups energy, or someone else that kind of represents with that same energy, but there's a real holding back. A real holding back around, and possibly holding back with money, even though there's a fair amount of money that's kind of showing up here. But I would still say that there's a lot of things to kind of work through yet. Like I said, and I don't feel like you have the ability to control it all in this month of June. It just feels like there is a lot in terms of security or possessions, that kind of thing, that are somehow really relevant. So I still feel like you're stable, and I still feel like there's something happy here, because the Nine of Cups indicates that there's something here that keeps you in a positive spirit, because the World card is here. So, I mean, even though there's some kind of conclusive energy, maybe the old way of how something represented is disappeared, and now it's going to move into something a little more real, because you finished a cycle. So you finish some kind of, you're having to give up something in lieu of this new situation. I don't feel like you want to move on from this situation, but something has to be accepted here, and able for spiritual growth to sort of happen, and to find your inner peace and contentment, all of that. Now, I did have some cards that kind of just dropped out here. Sorry, guys, I don't know if I can pull them all forward here, but I just kind of randomly pulled a few here, and some of them did sort of drop here. I'm just trying to see if I can reach them. One sec here, guys. Okay, I didn't catch all of them, but there was still a sense that, all right, so I'm just going to pull out what I had here. I believe the first one was the Knight of Wands. Sorry, let me just see if I can reach it. Sorry, guys, I just try to do this so random, and I apologize. Okay, so the card out came as the first one before the Hangman was the Knight of Wands. This one's more specific to a relationship. So there's the energy that I asked about. So I still feel like somebody's kind of in and out of a situation. So it's not like I don't feel like this person's still not talking to you or anything. I feel like they are still there. But it's just not a lot of open communication. One person's communicating, the other person's completely cut off. There is a stymied sort of situation with the Hanged Man. There's not a lot of activity or movement. Somebody is going to have to change the way that they see something, enable for something to kind of, open up. But there's a lot of deep dive here. There's a lot of energy that needs to be kind of worked through. Like I said, that Hermit energy tells me there's a lot of inner knowing that needs to be sort of dealt with. You need to kind of find your purpose again, that you're soul searching, you're trying to figure out a way to expand again. And it just feels like right now there's a lot of withdrawal on your behalf or somebody else's. However, we are dealing with the Four of Wands, and again, there's some kind of a happy situation that will kind of work out here, because the Four of Wands, this is further out energy, but that Four of Wands energy tells me that there's still something that's kind of back and forth, back and forth. So I don't feel like this is completely finished here, whatever this emotional situation is. But it definitely feels like there is still some sense of, and they're not big gestures with the Two of Pentacles. It's almost like somebody's in and out of somebody's life here, or there's even with on a career front, it's like things are still, you still kind of, if it's them, they're juggling their choices or their options. If it's you, it's more along the lines of, you still have some choices here, but you have to heal first. And that Ace of Cups energy tells me there is some kind of emotional new start. So there is reciprocity in a situation. Financially, I feel like this person or yourself, somehow there's a sense of, give and take. Something gets worked through in terms of the finances, because there is a sense of celebration here with the Three of Cups. Again, this is not all happening in June, but the energy just kind of going forward, which I pulled, does indicate that there is a sense of finishing up with some old scenario here. It's not going to be the same as what it was, for sure, because there's been, and again, even with a younger person here, I feel like 20s to 30s, even with a younger person, it feels like this energy is telling me there's still some communication issues. There's still a sense of not really wanting to communicate with you, but I think for the most part, it doesn't matter, because you're in a stage of having to heal anyway. Because the Ten of Swords, there's been, that's a harsh end. That is difficult communication for sure. But again, what I see coming up ahead is somebody's kind of a younger person, as I say, could be kind of going off in their own direction, but lots of money, lots of resources still available to you. A lot of repeat cards here. So there's something that's coming into you that's still, I don't know. I don't know how to put it here really, but there's still some kind of offer or gesture on the table, and it does affect the happiness overall and the family energy. But it's still showing me positive. It's almost like you're the one that's kind of stuck in your head. You're the one that's got all of this reserve and a lot of indifference that's still dealing with the scenario. But again, you're still on top. There's a lot of defensiveness still in this picture. And again, a lot of repeat cards. So like I said, I would still say overall, the cards indicate you need to heal. You need to let something heal, period. There is still some sense of moving ahead, and there's still some sense of money on the table that I still feel there is going to be reciprocity with. Because like I said, the fact that we actually still had, and again, a lot of repeating cards, Ace of Pentacles coming out twice, there's definitely something there. The Queen of Pentacles knows how to use her resources and all of that, but there's something new around the money source, that whether this is a financial idea that's coming to you, but there's still something that's showing a new beginning, and that's going to be a happy, prosperous new beginning. It's new money that's on the table here, so it's maybe an investment of some sort that's paying off, but there's some kind of long-term security, some kind of personal satisfaction that goes with that card, and it definitely does bring about some kind of stability. But it is a positive card, and it does mean that there is, maybe some kind of plan to upgrade something. So either way, it's making you happy, because it could be upgrading your home front, it could, because that is all around the home front. So there's something here that's kind of taking off. So just know what is coming in is going to be that Chariot energy, and that Chariot still speaks to, decisions being made. It doesn't feel like there's something, it's like the old way of life is ended, but there is a new thing here that's coming in that's going to change things for you. And again, it feels like on a couple of fronts, actually even 3 fronts really, because the communication part for me is still very relevant in the month of, I still feel like harsh communications. But there is going to be some coordinated effort here, maybe even some kind of event that takes place. But these clarifiers still indicate there's a new beginning and a happy new beginning. But nothing is going to be as it was before. That's all I'm going to say. It feels like there's still things that are going forward, definitely on the home front. Definitely you doing a lot of healing for sure. Something that's not fully revealed yet. But there is absolute happiness in here. There's a wish fulfillment that is going to be coming through in June. I don't know what that is for you, but there is something that's going to kind of surprise you here. And the Four of Pentacles does indicate a lot of reserve, emotionally. Somebody's willing to communicate, but the emotions are still needing to be expressed. Somebody's really holding back on emotions. There's a lot of healing coming through here. But again, there's a certain sense of independence financially. So again, the old way is done. Whatever transpired was a very solid end. But again, whatever that situation was, is just being reconfigured. So something new is going to take place in about 3 different fronts. One, you're getting a wish fulfillment. Lot of hidden energy here. Secondly, there is also a sense that, the dynamics have changed. So it feels like you're maybe not in the driver's seat, but it seems like whatever your position is, it's one of holding back. Like you're waiting for something to kind of reveal itself. The High Priestess is still a pretty strong player, and so is, your energy coming through in this read. So it's not like you're kind of out for the count. It's more that you're in a position of ultimate change. And again, the Judgment card does speak to ultimate change. The Judgment has, a lot of big energy, but I still feel overall, the changes will benefit you in some way here. I don't know how, but I do feel like it's going to benefit you. So financially, there's going to be some kind of impact, on your destiny for sure, but it's going to increase finances and your overall happiness. So whether that's a relationship that's undergoing some kind of regeneration, but it feels like it's a decision that is either going to be, full commitment, or full kind of ending, and something new is coming through here. But I still feel like it's transformative energy. And I feel like it's creating a better life for you either way. And you've got, like I said, new emotional start, new financial start, spiritual awakening, a real sense of releasing the past and moving on with a fresh start. I feel like this is a new path in life for you. Valuable lessons learned with the Judgment card. It's all of that. This is really, again, 4 different things if we throw in the Judgment card, because that's a big accumulation of lessons that are being imparted here. But again, it's like you are just taking responsibility and sort of answering the call and moving in the direction where things are kind of breakthrough for you. So there is something positive coming through for you. There's a wish fulfillment with the 9 of Cups. Again, it's probably a little further out. July, there's something really big changing, because like I said, I pulled cards. I didn't put them into this one here, but I just will do that one again for you guys. But just know that something is really going to be opening up here and enlightening you in some way. But I just feel like you will have a renewed sense of yourself. But this month in June, again, there's a conflict of some sort, because there's a lot of harsh words, a lot of swords that came through, and that's a big energy with the Judgment, and it feels like it's going to trickle through probably into July. So this is going to be a process of releasing the past, I would say, and that's going to be freedom from all that inner conflict that was being dealt with, because there were 10 of Swords energy out here. So again, there's something new coming in financially, emotionally, and a wish fulfillment, and you're really waking up to a whole new life. So June is some kind of big turning point for all of that. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of insight. Keep moving forward, never give up. There's always something in the works, future here. So just know that it takes the time it takes to heal, but always be open to looking for, ways to heal yourself faster, because the longer we stay in the places of resistance, we kind of sabotage our own advancement and possibilities for figuring out who we really are. So always look for the tools. I'm YouTube all over the place. So anyway, take care, guys. Keep moving forward, and we'll see you in future reads. I'll do one for July here very